I have Renee Austin on the phone with me this morning for Cool 101.7. Good morning, Renee.
Good morning, Chris.
Or should I call you Renile or Renui or?
Yes, all of the above. Renee, Renile. Yeah, there have been many.
We were discussing a few moments ago about how our names have been massacred and how common they are. I mean, I look at your name and I see Renee.
Right.
I don't know how somebody could get a different. But you, even though you have a common name, your music is nowhere near common. When from the time that I set up this interview to the time that I'm talking to you, I was able to listen to a few tunes online at YouTube, and you are all over the place with your style.
Yeah. It's a mix. I would say, gospel, Texas blues, soul music.
I think you have a couple of country tunes in you too.
Well, Texas blues is so in that it's got that little honky-tonk flavor for sure.
Right. Well, I heard a track off You're Right About Love called Mr. Cowboy, and it sounded like Katie Lang to me.
Yeah, I love those those cowboy torch songs. Yeah, that's what we kind of wrote it for.
My favorite song, though, of all the songs, I listened to about 15 or 20 songs of yours, and my favorite, without a doubt, is Mouth of the Delta.
Ooh, one of my faves, too. Yeah. That was co-written with David Grissom, who was in a Texas band called Storyville.
Yeah.
And then went on after that, and he was the musical director for the Dixie Chicks. So he's an amazing player and a really nice guy.
He's also written some film scores, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and he plays a lot with Joe Ely and lots of different people, but he's an amazing player. That's his guitar work on that track. And it was quite an absolute treat and dream for me. The guys from Storyville were influential in the 90s for me a lot, and then Malford Milligan and Tommy Shannon, who you know from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble.
Yep.
The three of us wrote Right About Love, the actual title track. So there's a good amount of Texas love and music in that record.
That's a great ballad, by the way. That's the title track from your latest record?
Yeah, the last record from 2005, yeah.
I called it a new record because to me it was a new record, and it's still, when you listen to it, and I'm not just blowing smoke, when you listen to it, I mean, it holds up.
Thank you.
I had to look up all the details for it, but I call it your new record because I just think that it sounds like you just did it. I mean, it's very fresh.
My sound, I guess. It's, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I put out is stuff that is just stuff that that God gives me. I can't take all the credit, but the production and everything from both Sweet Talk and Right About Love, I think we're ahead of its time, even before kind of the new country thing came. And, so I just love making music, but I like to push the envelope and not just do what everybody else is doing.
Well, if I had to compare you to somebody, it'd be really hard because there are a couple tunes I heard, like Right About Love, that's all Bonnie Raitt to me, and I'm sure you hear that a lot. But there's some Joplin in there. I hear Bonnie Tyler. I hear Katie Lang. And I even hear some Taylor Dane.
Oh, hey, I had her record. Yeah, she's a great singer. Thank you.
You've got that real...
I'm not from New York.
Yeah, you're not from New York. But she's got that real thick sound that you have, though.
Yeah, there's a huskiness for sure, and I got a lot. People would say I was like the female version of Delbert McClinton, and just some of those huskier. I even got Michael McDonald at some point, which is awesome. All those guys, James Ingram, I love all of their voices. So I just I don't think about singing like anyone. I just go in and just sing my songs. And
I didn't hear anything forced in there. I heard those styles and I was like, wow, you must have a big record collection like me.
Yeah, I think growing up in Texas, where I call it a big jambalaya of musical styles. You're just in this melting pot. There's rock, there's blues, there's country, there's all these different, you're next door to Louisiana, so you got swamp music, you got, just Latina music, from being ridden by Mexico. And it's just this great melting pot, I think, especially being grown up an hour outside of Austin, a little town of 800 people, but Kingsland. But there's such a melting pot of people and music that really rubbed off for me.
You were talking to Renee Austin this morning. She's going to be part of the Bayfront Blues Festival. In fact, you're opening it up over in the acoustic tent.
Yeah, it was a last-minute addition. I think they mostly had their schedule done. And I started a Facebook page finally, and people started hearing, like, are you singing again? And are you singing again? And so we actually got 3 or 4 festivals this summer just from people adding us to the end of their festival schedule. So I'm just grateful to be singing again anywhere.
Well, now that you say that, singing again, the people that know your stuff know your story, but I think there's a lot of people that don't know. You almost were done.
Yeah, no, I was done. Like, we were in Canada at a jazz festival, and I was warming up, and I found a lump in my throat. And came home, and for 3 months we did testing. Couldn't find out if it was cancer or not. And all during the summer while we're doing the testing, I'm making Right About Love. And Right About Love is finished. It comes out in August. And 3 weeks later, we get a call that we can't get a conclusive thing on what's going on with it was in my thyroid, and we're going to bring you in, and we're going to remove half your thyroid. And, if you're cancer-free, you'll be up and out and gone in 2 weeks, back out on the road. If not, we'll deal with it as it comes. So they called. I had 2 days when they called and went in for surgery, and came out, and I was cancer-free, and I thank the Lord for that. And but what was supposed to be a 2-week recovery period never happened. We found out a month or 2 in that my left vocal nerve had become paralyzed in the surgery. They couldn't see any nicks, cuts, bruises. They have no idea why it stopped, but it completely is paralyzed. And I could not talk. This was me yelling. That was me yelling at the top of my voice. And so I also had to learn to swallow again. I had to, that nerve also lifts your chest cavity when you breathe, so I had to learn to breathe.
Wow.
It was a big recovery, which we didn't really put out there for everybody, but I couldn't speak, so basically life just kind of came off the rails, left the label, let the guys from the band, let them all loose and go find work, and started trying to just, find a new life.
Uh-huh. And then what happened that got you singing again?
Well, it's truly a miracle. It happened in 3 stages, years apart. So this is a miracle story, a very true miracle story, but it's not a one-time thing. That's even more interesting in the story. About 10 to 11 months in, I was helping a nonprofit here in Minnesota that rebuilt villages in Kenya and Uganda, and I didn't have to be on the phone much, obviously, because I couldn't talk very loud.
Right.
But I loved the work that we were doing, and it gave me something, to dive into. And I woke up that morning, couldn't speak, same as always, and 10 o'clock in the morning, the phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was like, hello, this is... And I just stopped, like my speaking voice was right there, like it was back, out of the blue, just out of the blue. And so that was miracle number 1. And then about 4 years later, I was supposed to help in my church's Easter production, and there was supposed to be this big song at the end, and I said, well, I can't sing that. So I almost said no to doing it, and they just said, well, just, continue with your acting part, and we'll just see what happens. Well, the day I was supposed to make a little track, I call it a Britney Spears track, where, you fake your voice, you put your voice on so that if you should get sick, they can play the musical track and the production continues on.
Okay.
But I could not sing. I could speak after all those years, but I could not sing. And they said, well, just, we'll just pray. And so that morning there was a special speaker at church, a guy from Argentina, and he said, are there folks here who have things that the doctors say are incurable? And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that's me. And he said, I'm just going to pray for everybody. So, okay. And so he prayed. And I tried, got out of the building and tried to sing again. Couldn't sing. And I'm like, great. Okay, thanks, Lord. Not today. I know he heals, but it didn't happen. I get in the car 15 minutes later. We head to this little studio. And my friend says, well, are you ready? I'm like, yeah, I was so I was just not happy about having to do it because it was one more reminder that I couldn't sing.
Uh-huh.
And he put the music on, and I could sing the entire track.
Wow.
On the spot. Yeah. I mean, it was total miracle number 2. And then 2 years later from that, they were going to have another. Now, it wasn't my full voice. It wasn't my regular voice, but It was probably half of what I could do before.
But a voice, a singing voice.
But still, there was nothing before. And so 2 years later, they wanted to do the song again for Easter. And I'm like, hey, no problem. I've got this lowered down in the basement track that they created for the production. And I'm like, we're good to go. 3 days before Easter, the director calls and says, we don't have a choir to do your backups. You're going to have to use the original track from a group out of Nashville called Avalon, with this tenor guy, Jody, who was my normal voice.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't sing like that. And the director just, always in the right frame of mind, just said, just pray and see what God does. So I'm stomping down the stairs going, you know what, Lord, this is really hard. I don't like being reminded that I can't sing anymore, and just please help me. And I go downstairs, I grab the disc, put it in my little boy's baby boom box, and put the track in. Without warming up, I could do the Avalon track like warm knife through butter, like my voice was back.
Wow.
So 3 miracles on 3 days. And and what's crazy is I still am paralyzed on my vocal nerve. I still have the swallowing issues. I still have breathing issues. But I can now speak and sing. So it's truly a miracle.
Wow. And now everyone can come and hear exactly what that miracle sounds like.
Amen. Yeah, it's preach on, Chris. But yeah, totally. That's, I think, the reason that God gave it back is I think there's folks who, they're just really struggling and they don't have hope, and miracles still happen, and I think folks just need to hear that, not to give up. I think that's an important message for folks.
And I tell you what, I don't want to belittle any of the story, but Forrest Gump says it in the Forrest Gump movie. He says, "Now, if folks don't believe miracles happen, they do."
Exactly.
And that's exactly what you've been telling us about. Well, I'm looking forward to coming down and seeing you. We get to go down there every once in a while and take in some shows. We're the official radio station, so
awesome.
Yeah, so we're very lucky
for promoting it.
But I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing you, especially.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing me too. It's funny, when you've lost your voice completely, and God gives it back. Every chance for me to sing is a real honor, and I'm real grateful for it. I don't take it for granted at all. So I'm honored to be back at Bayfront and share the gift,
There we go. Well, the gates open at 11 a.m. on Friday, August 7th. Renee Austin will be the first one to play in the acoustic tent from 11:30 until noon. Renee, do you want to shameless plug yourself? Any website or anything that you want to tell everybody about?
I don't have a website yet. This has all happened pretty fast.
Okay.
Actually, I just started a Facebook page in January, February, and that's how folks started hearing that I could sing again, and so these shows have all come rather quick. But I'm on Facebook and Reverb Nation, and there's a band page and a Renee Austin page, so like one and friend the other, and I look forward to just meeting folks and hugging their necks and
getting back in the game.
And making music together.
Yeah. Well, we at cool1017.com, we'll hook up all YouTube and the Reverb Nation and everything so everybody can check you out from one place.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, bless you too.